Hey, everybody. How y'all doing? It's the Elephant's Corner, back again. Beautiful November day. I'm joined by Rebekah Smith, a.k.a. the Film Doctor. She is cooking, okay? Well, I guess we could say she's doing some really good surgery or whatever since she's a doctor. But yeah, she's killing it, award after award, bringing the best people to festivals all over the U.S. and maybe the world. We're going to find out. But yeah, I'm very excited for this. So y'all know what it is. Rebekah, how we doing?
I'm good, thank you. I like that intro. That's the best intro ever.
Let's go. Yeah, I try to hype up the crowd so they look interested, so they stay interested. You know what I mean?
Well, you do a really good job.
Thank you. So, Rebekah, how are we doing? You had a nice little stroll into the studio.
I did.
Beautiful day outside. You said that you were getting some errands done, so that's always good.
Yeah, in Uptown, so I got all that done.
Uptown girl. Isn't that like a Billy Joel song or something like that?
Yes. Living in Uptown world.
Yeah, living in Uptown world. There you go. Love it. Well, welcome. This is the studio. Glad to have you in. I've been trying to get you in for a while now. But, I've been busy. It hasn't been you. It's been me, actually, that's been folding and dropping the bag. But thanks for coming in. I appreciate it.
Great we can do it now.
Yes. So do you want to give a little rundown about you? Not so much as a film doctor. We'll get into that a little bit later. But you as, just Rebekah, and, coming from the UK and all that.
Yeah. So I moved from the UK in 2020. I finally got to Texas in 2021 due to COVID and all those kind of,
I was going to ask,
things.
2020, did you come right before COVID or?
No, it was during. So I left in December 2020 and the UK had a very long lockdown. So it was very much like 6 months of the year it was locked down, and then they had another little lockdown, and it happened again. But anyway, I was trying to move because I got my visa approved to live in the US, my work visa. But it was just difficult because there was travel bans and just, the stuff that happened.
It was crazy. I mean, me moving, because I moved in 2020 from Louisiana to Florida. Right. And I literally had to drive into this rest stop area and take a test, do all the... I mean, it was locked down just to go from state to state. So to go from country to country,
was insane.
It had to be.
And then I managed to. I had to spend some time in Mexico City because I had to do my quarantine there. But I couldn't get over it during December 2020. Had some issues with immigration, just how they were changing things. But then I made it over in August 21. So I was in Mexico for a while. But I got it sorted, and I'm here. So I wanted to move because I wanted to move my business here, but also I wasn't feeling connected to the UK anymore. I was born and raised there, and it got to the point where I was just ready to expand my business and myself and grow. Yeah. And I was feeling more connected to the US. So this is why.
Were you always traveling over here?
All the time.
Right.
It got to the point where it was maybe twice a month. I'd be going UK to LA.
Oh, that's terrible.
That's long haul.
That's
long.
What is that, 4 connecting flights or 3?
No, you can do it in one, but it's 11
One
hours.
flight.
You can do it one flight, but it's 11 hours. So it is.
Sheesh.
And it's also when you get there is that it's you lose a day because there's an 8-hour time difference.
Yeah.
So it is it's a lot.
That's wild.
It's a lot. So, I mean, it's not too bad if you're going to go to New York because it's 5 hours time difference. But when you go into West Coast and then Hawaii, all those places, it's a lot. So it was
Hawaii in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah. So I was going back and forth a lot with festivals, going to festivals and all that kind of thing, building up a brand there and names and all that kind of stuff. So in LA a lot, in New York, and I would come to Texas as well, mainly Dallas because I had connections in Dallas and I was at Dallas Film Festival. So kind of starting new people there. But I was going to move to LA and live there. It didn't work out because of LA's changing a lot, and it changed a lot during the pandemic. But I knew Dallas. I thought I feel better living here than I did in LA.
Nice. Yeah, I would say it was probably better during the pandemic to live here than in LA, considering I was in Florida, so I don't necessarily know how it was. But in Florida, it was pretty wide open. After 3 or 4 months, we could do whatever we wanted.
Yeah.
The only thing that was great was no traffic. So I assume here there was no traffic, which would make Dallas so much better.
Yes, that's true. It was a lot different. And it was also in Mexico City. Someone said, before the pandemic occurred, you'd be driving around Mexico City and it'd be in 2-hour traffic jams. I was like, it was taking us 20 minutes just to get from area to area. And they're like, well, because it's no traffic, it's the pandemic. And then now, like when I spoke with a friend of mine who I met there, I said to him, like, how are things over there? Because obviously really miss being city because I really like Mexico City. And he said, well, it's back to how it is, 2-hour traffic jams in rush hour, hard to get anywhere.
Nice.
We're still, starting to open up with the film industry more now, but it's like still back to its crazy self. So.
That's nice. Yeah, I have not been to Mexico City, but definitely a place on my bucket list because
It's great.
I mean, I just heard such good things about it.
It's incredible city.
Yeah.
Like all the areas around there. You've got Coyoacan. You've got Roma, obviously where Roma, like Alfonso Cuarón is.
Yeah.
You've obviously got Condesa and Polanco. So those are the best like places to be. They're not too far away from each other, but they're just really lovely.
Not a bad place to quarantine.
Not a bad place. And that was wide open.
Yeah, yeah,
I remember when I got there, they were like, "Oh, there's a lockdown," and I was like, "Is it?" And it's like everywhere's open, so they do it in a way where they say, it's up to you. If you want to close it down, you can, but there's no support from the government because they can't afford to. You know, like cover everyone's like business and stuff. So that would make sense. And I was walking around going like, "Oh, this is open. You can have coffees." It felt like it was just a
it was nice.
day.
And nobody out.
No, but there was still people around, but everyone was outside, as they were saying, like to be safer outside than inside.
Right, because the sunlight, it does wonders. Get some sun, people.
Yeah.
Get some sun.
And stay healthy outside. So that kind of thing was going on.
And we're actually, I'm doing a fitness event. You'll have to come. It's January 12th. It might be a little chilly, but we'll see. But we're going to do it in the Hardwood Park.
Oh, nice.
And we're going to have a little boxing and yoga and all that. So,
nice.
Yeah, we're going to try to do it once a month. Try to get people healthy.
That'll be fun. And that's a good time to do it. People are starting to change their ways in January, the New Year's resolutions. So you'd be like,
you caught on. You caught on very quickly. You got to catch them in that first month and lock them into those subscriptions for the gym.
To be committed to doing it. Yeah.
And then Planet Fitness is like, yeah, come in, New Year's sale. And then they are like, you have to come in and bring a 5-form ID to cancel this membership. They lock you in.
That's pretty. There's a Planet Fitness near me because I live in Elmwood, Oak Cliff.
Okay.
And when I do my walk and I go up to like the Crossroads part, before Jefferson Boulevard appears, there's a huge Planet Fitness. Like it's a massive.
I've seen that one.
And I was like, wow. And everyone goes in there. So there's, pretty good place to keep fit.
That's actually where I'm looking to move.
Oh, right.
Well, I want to be a little bit closer to Bishop Arts, but relatively the same.
Elmwood's the best place. I'm really close to Bishop Arts. Like it's either to the Texas Theater, you can drive there maybe 7 minutes.
Oh.
But I walk all the time. Obviously not when it's pitch black, but that'll be 35, 40 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad at all. Yeah, I've been transitioning into walking more. I want to kind of sell my car.
Yeah.
I'm like in between it right now. But I kind of need it just a little bit longer. I think I want a moped.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You could get everywhere in a moped. I might not be able to jump on like the 80-mile-an-hour interstates, but I can make the way.
Exactly. Just be more economical. Or in the UK, it's like reducing your carbon footprint. So
yes.
More walking and less driving for no reason, like short trips is ridiculous.
Imagine, Yeah. No. That's one thing that and the trains.
Yeah.
They're cool. I think they're upgrading them. They're about to do one down from Houston to from here to Houston.
I read about that, and I was like, that's going to be really useful. Because I had a blood clot in my leg earlier the past.
Oh yeah, I remember
3 months.
that.
And I remember saying that to you. It was really a stressful time because I had to make sure it wasn't going to get bigger
And
to move
drive,
up the body. So driving wise, I had to like stop every hour to walk around, and then going on a coach. People said it's good for you because you walk up and down, which I did. So when I went to Fantastic Fest in Austin, I got the bus there and I was walking up and down every half an hour, just to
that makes sense.
Just to help it, just the blood flow. And the walking is important to keep the blood flowing, and the only way you can do it is walking.
Yeah.
The longer you walk, the better. So I was doing every day, like first thing in the morning, because it was during the summer, I was like walk and then come back and then do some more walking around the house if I could. If I had time in the afternoon, I'd do another walk just to take a break from work. But honestly, it's like everybody should walk, and there's plenty of places you can walk around here.
Oh yeah, I actually been discovering like a lot of like pretty walking trails, parks around here. A lot of people say that Dallas doesn't have it, whoever's listening doesn't know. A lot of people say Dallas doesn't have nature, walking paths and all that, but I've been finding that there's at least 10 or 12 within like an hour. Yeah, it might not be in like the center of Dallas, like say Zelker Park is in Austin and all that, but there's definitely some nature around here.
Absolutely, there's more than they think, and especially Bishop Arts is so nice to walk around. Living there is great. I used to
Yeah.
live there before I got my house. I lived in Bishop Arts, and I was right in the strip, in the thick of it.
Oh,
And that
nice.
was I mean, at weekends and Fridays and weekends, it would be tourists.
Annoying.
So you wouldn't really go out around the area
Yeah.
then, but you'd pretty much go out in the weekday when the locals would be there. Got to run by the seasons, all the nice Paradiso, all the nice places. So yes,
I've done a bunch of wine walks.
Oh yeah.
Have you done any of those?
I haven't done them myself, but I know of them because
Yeah.
we were told about them when we moved into the apartment. I was like, oh, there's lots of stuff going on here.
It was really cool. I mean, it's like $15, and then you can walk around to like 30 different stores
Yeah.
and get wine from them. I mean,
Yeah.
you're not beating that. That's like all you can eat.
They've got a new place in Bishop Arts, like a gin place. Like,
Oh,
just
and you
gin.
can make the gin.
Yeah.
Yes, I saw them whenever they were first opening. They weren't open yet, and I walked in there.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, and they were like, you can do classes and stuff.
Yeah.
Very cool, very cool.
I know.
Well, I want to transition to Div since we met through
Yes,
Div.
we did.
Shout out to Div. Div's helped me out a lot in this company that I'm building and are always giving me great opportunities. That's the Dallas International Film Festival. So they just got recognized and are able to do Oscar-worthy films, correct? And get them nominated.
Yeah. So
Tell me
it's-
like the little inside and out about because
The
I
ins
don't
and
really
outs of
understand.
that.
Yeah, I don't really understand it.
It's a very Pacific thing. So on October the 1st this year, the Dallas Film Festival, DIF, became an Oscar qualifying film festival. So what that means is if a film, well, say whatever film wins the best live action short film or the best documentary short film or the best animation short film, those films can then submit to the Oscars, which is great. Which means that if the film then gets a nomination, then it's thanks to DIF that they had that
Supported
nomination
them
because
up
they
and-
supported
yeah.
them. So it's a very big thing in the film world, obviously. To become a qualified festival for the Oscars is not easy.
Yeah.
They don't open every year for submissions. It's a very rigorous process. They've tried before and get it, but now they have, which I think is helped by Dallas becoming a Oscar qualifying city. So if you don't win one of those 3 awards for your film, you can qualify your film to submit to the Oscars via doing a release in theaters for a week.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that bases off of how many people go see it or just like people that come and see it and their creditors?
No. So how it works is if you want to submit your film to the Oscars and you didn't win those awards at DIF, let's say, those 3 awards, the way you can do it as an alternative is to screen the film for a week-long run, 7 days in a row in one theater. Let's say the Texas theater, but I did it earlier this year. In a city that's Oscar qualified, that being Dallas is one of them, alongside 5 others. And you have to screen the film once a day for a short film, and for a feature, it's 3 times per day. And one screening has to be between 6 and 10 each day for a feature.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's pretty like
specific.
yeah,
and
that's
intense.
very specific. Wow.
Yeah, but also is that you haven't got to make money for the theater because you pay the theater to rent it. It's a rental, so you don't have to meet a minimum guarantee of like $500 or whatever, nothing like that.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the time with those screenings, no one really attends. It's just tick a box to qualify. That's all it is. I mean,
Interesting. And then once you qualify, then you go through another process, and then they maybe have 5 films come out of that for like that like get shouted out, or like all the people are on the list.
So when you've qualified and you've done that run, so you've qualified by we can qualify in 2 ways. So if you win an award at a festival that's Oscar qualified, and you win one of those awards, which is able to submit to the Oscars, a qualifying award. So in DIF's case, as I said, best live action short, best animation, best documentary.
Yeah.
And you can submit and fill in the application form, which is a pretty big form to fill in and complete. It's not easy. And then you submitted. And the other way would be doing that release in the theater, 7 days in a row, 1 theater in a qualified city, 7 days in a row, 1 screening per day for shorts, 3 screenings per day for features.
Yeah.
And then you can submit the same process. And then they announced their shortlist on December 17th
Okay.
of
shortlist.
15 films that get considered shortlist.
15. Okay.
15.
And how many on average have been getting put in over the years? Like,
Oh, they don't get as many as a film festival submissions would. They don't get like 6,000. It's more
Okay.
like maybe 250, 300.
wow, that's still a lot
It's
of
still a
films.
lot.
to
It's
go-
still a lot, yeah. But
Wow.
it's not like thousands of thousands to
Yeah.
get through. I think that's why they're very Pacific, because they don't want to keep getting,
Trash. Yeah, I mean, trash, right?
You
No
know.
offense.
Yeah.
Art is art, but
Art is art, but I want to say
Yeah.
it's professional,
Yeah,
And
exactly.
films that win those kind of awards are really, really good,
Right.
So one of my
They have to be at least
They
the
have-
best of the
yes,
festival, so
yes.
you're weeding out all those other ones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I had a film which I consulted on in 2016 called Shock that was Oscar nominated, and it won the Holly Shorts Best of Festival prize, which
What?
made it qualify.
Nice.
So I was attached to that film in the beginning in development phase, and I remember reading the script, and I was like, this is really strong. It doesn't need any work. And normally scripts would need a lot of work in the beginning of an early draft, but
Yeah.
this didn't. And then they went on to do the festivals, and then they won that award, which qualified them. They wouldn't be able to. Those team wouldn't have been able to have before to have the funds. Sorry, they wouldn't have the funds to do a release theatrically if they didn't win that award.
Yeah.
So it helps a lot. So festivals really help. Because obviously, doing a release theatrically and qualifying that way is quite expensive.
Yeah, I mean, I would think having to pay the theater and all that is pretty
Yeah.
expensive.
And it depends where you do it, because there's 6 cities in the US which are what we call the Oscar qualifying cities. So that's cities where you can do that release.
I'm
So-
gonna guess them. Okay,
Okay, give it a go.
L.A.,
Yes,
San Fran,
yes,
Dallas,
yes,
New York.
yes.
I'd like to say Miami, but I don't think so.
It used to be, but not anymore.
Okay, that makes sense. They fell out. They're more Telemundo and all that. Let's see, Orlando,
No,
Detroit,
no,
Chicago.
yes.
Should have had Chicago before Detroit. I don't know the last one.
Atlanta.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense because they shoot a lot in Atlanta.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Okay.
Yep. So you choose one of those cities that you want to do it in. Now those cities vary in price. So it can get very expensive in LA and New York.
Oh, I
You
bet.
need to know people to get a deal there.
And the film doctor knows people.
Yes.
So if you are looking to do this and you need somebody to save your life, she's here. The film doctor.
Exactly. So to get the right deals. It's hard to get deals in New York, unless you know people, because obviously
Yeah.
in New York City it's very expensive.
Yeah, they're like, no, we actually have to make money to survive. So
Exactly. I mean, it's not too bad in Atlanta. It's expensive in Chicago and San Francisco.
that makes sense.
So there's places, because they're expensive places.
Do you
gonna
think
happen.
Dallas is the most cost-effective place, or is it Atlanta?
I think it's probably at the moment Dallas, because it's so new. So people are still understanding what it actually is.
Yeah.
Because when it was announced in the trades, I remember telling Tony Armour, who was our commissioner at the time, and I said, oh, this is great news. I remember telling James on the phone, he was like, have you told that to Tony? And I said, no, I thought he knew. And he was like, oh, okay. So he was a bit like, that's great news. And no
Yeah.
one informed, they also didn't tell people, like the commissions, oh, you just become a qualified city. It was just finding out in the press.
Yeah.
But we obviously keep track of all the Oscars press all the time, because we need to, when it comes to, monitoring what's going on in the Academy world.
Adapting and,
Exactly,
doing the right
exactly.
resume, per se.
All that kind of research.
Yeah.
And it changes on a daily basis.
I bet.
So we have to keep on top of it.
New members come in, it probably
yeah.
changes completely. Yeah.
Yep, they have new members all the time and how they do things. So it's important to read that kind of info and hear it from the horse's mouth. So I was very much like, this is a big thing. And I did a presentation at Texas Theatre and with Dallas Film Commission about it. And that's when Diff were like, maybe we should definitely reapply. I was like, well, yeah. I mean, at the time, we were the only city that was Oscar qualifying. They didn't have a festival that was Oscar qualified.
Festival. Oh, so they took advantage of that. Smart.
So yeah, I was like, we need
Okay.
to definitely submit, because it's got a really good chance at this point, because the city's changing.
Yeah, and they need probably to, connect it to a festival to solidify their
Yeah.
reasoning of giving it to.
And Diff does have really strong programming for shorts and features. And
I'll tell you
documentaries,
this.
So
I'll tell you this. I never cry or anything for motion pictures in the theater. Every single diff film that I saw, either at the big festival or the shorts, emotional response, teared up on some of them, angry on some of them, they curated an amazing. I cried at the soccer one.
Oh,
that was at
yeah.
the big diff.
yeah.
Because it's like,
Yeah.
it was sad, but also very cool, but sad.
Yeah.
I'm
and
like, man, they took this away from them.
The one I really wanted to see, but I missed it, was Sing Sing with Coleman Domingo, because that's doing really well. That's got Oscar buzz. I mean, Oscar buzz is all generated by the publicists.
Yeah.
And sometimes, films I think will get a nomination don't, because it all depends upon the members and what they want to put forward, because they have a lot of power to decide. They're the ones that decide, the voting begins. So it's a big thing. And I had a short film Oscar shortlisted last year, which was great. Very strong,
That's
message
really cool.
film, really, really important film about immigration. So that was really cool. And then obviously this year, one of my feature films has been selected as a South African entry for the Oscars. So,
That's crazy.
which is so
On
cool.
a roll.
On a roll.
That's cool. Yeah, and you were actually talking about that process a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That process is a little bit different to how you qualify a short and a narrative documentary short. So when you're competing, in this case, we're competing for the best international feature category. Because obviously the Oscars is all in the US, so all films that are made outside the US is international, obviously. So how it works is not a case of the film commission in each country said, I'm going to pick this film. You still have to do the qualifying release. So you have to do do a screening 3 times per day for a feature, 7 days in a row in one theater. The only difference is that you don't do it in the US, you do it in the country of production. So in this case, in my client's case, South Africa. So wherever the film was produced, that's where you have to do it.
Okay.
So in a theater. There's a commercial, most major theater, not like a pull down in a pub.
Is it
like
a way?
A proper theater.
Yeah, is it like a way to keep I guess kind of keep that money into those theaters where it was produced, so the theater scene kind of stays alive a little bit.
Yeah,
I know that's a stretch and a weird way to connect it, but I'm just wondering if
because you obviously have to hire the theater. So so it keeps revenue coming in for the theaters, which is a good thing. And then when you've done the release and successfully completed it, you then put the film forward to the film commission, and they decide which film will represent the country.
Yeah.
So I had a similar thing happen in South Africa in 2016. So a film of mine that I represented called Kalushi, that was a very good film, did lots of festivals around the world, did Seattle Film Festival, and it won a lot of awards on the circuit. That qualified, and we put it forwards, and we thought it might get it because it's a very South African story. But there were other films that we knew were really strong as well. And we didn't get on this chosen, but the film that did was very good and got shortlisted in 2017, which is amazing, called The Wound. And it's come back around in a circle now, because now one of my clients has got that.
Yeah.
And I actually let it all go because I knew they were doing the release. And I was just well, there's so many other films to compete against, because South Africa has a lot of films. So
really?
So many
they
films.
always produce a lot?
Loads. And they're all really good, because I represent a lot of them. And they're all fantastic. So it's tough competition. But I was really pleasantly surprised, because this film that's been selected, called Old Righteous Blues, it's not done like the typical, Cannes and Berlinale festivals.
Yeah.
They always, normally film commissions choose the films that have done those festivals because they want to think it might help.
Yeah.
But this one hadn't. It's done festivals outside of South Africa. It's done a lot, but they're not as those big top 5. It's done CineQuest in San Jose. It's did a few festivals outside in the UK, in Australia, and Tony Armour's Festival Sunscreen. So, good. It's traveling and it's getting noticed, and it wins awards all the time at festivals. And I was okay, well, fingers crossed. I wasn't sure which direction it would go in. And then we got it. And I was wow, this is amazing. So now it's been obviously great to have that breakthrough. And,
really cool.
And they gave a statement. The South African Film Commission gave a statement, the National Film and Video Foundation. I said, we've chosen the film because this is a very South African story that translates around the world.
Nice. Okay.
Which it does.
Right.
And the Academy liked that, because it's not too local. It wouldn't just get it if you
yeah, if I'm watching it, then I won't
you'd understand
get it.
You'd be what's this about?
Yeah.
It's oh, this is really engaging. It's a very heartwarming, uplifting film. So that's a really good thing too.
Nice.
By a female director, which is also great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So so you came over here to expand the Film Doctor.
Yeah.
Tell us, whenever you first thought about the idea of the Film Doctor, what was that process as a young businesswoman?
Yeah.
Trying to conquer the film industry and make a name for yourself?
So I was studying for my PhD in Wales in the UK.
Okay.
And I just knew that a PhD wasn't going to be my big career. I just knew it was something else.
It wasn't it.
It wasn't it.
Right.
I didn't wake up each morning like, oh my God, I'm so excited with
I can't
my
wait to
PhD.
graduate.
Can't wait to
and
graduate. It was something was holding me. Something was
Holding you back.
holding me back a bit. But I was like, I want to keep doing this and see how I get on. And then I got asked to co-produce a film festival called the Abattoir Horror Festival that was taking place in the university.
Ooh.
And I was like, this will be nice to do like just some change of scenery because it's quite intense, the PhD, writing, research.
What was your PhD in?
PhD was an audience research project looking at the emotional responses to the fans of Quentin Tarantino.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's
There
a
you
PhD
go.
on Tarantino.
All right, nice.
And it's a great PhD. It's really interesting, like results, and they wanted me to write a book on it because it was really, it's very,
Dang.
really useful stuff about fandom. But I then caught the festival bug, and then I was like,
Co-produced, and you were like, all
I was
right,
like,
I think I found it.
I think I found the spot. So I really enjoyed working with the festival. It was great. And then I asked filmmakers what they liked and disliked about film festivals. And they all said the same thing. There was a big pattern. They all said, we love the film. So we love film festivals. We love going to them, meeting new people, getting drunk and winning awards and connecting and having fun. This is so much fun. The thing we hate is that we don't know who to ask to help get our films into festivals. We're just hoping for the best when we go on and submit. There's no strategy.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, hang on. This is something, there's a gap in the market here. And then I did some research and just typed in like film festival strategy. And then nothing really popped up. There was one company that did pop up that didn't run anymore. And I was like, oh, I'll follow this guide. And his company was a consulting service, which is very much like one-to-ones, a very good service called Film Festival Secrets. And there was a book, and I was like, let me do my research. But I knew you could probably expand on his model and, like, and do like some more to that and develop it into like a fully fledged agency. I was like, there's something here I'm seeing. Maybe I'm an entrepreneur now. But I didn't have any business skills. I was all like, figuring this out as I went along. And then I said to my friend, I said, oh, what do you think of this? And he was like, this is a really good idea. Write a business plan. So I did a business plan. And then I was the one who was going to festivals and meeting new connections, knowing how festivals programmed and worked. I thought, I'm going to give this a go. I mean, I'm going to start like from scratch. And I'm going to have to like prove this works, and I don't
Proof of concept,
know what I'm
basically, yeah.
doing at the minute because it's all like, this is back in 2011. It's just a little bit new. But then I grew it and grew it and grew it and slowly got there, which is great. So it's gone from being a very, very niche, tiny business to like a very, 24/7 thriving company.
Yeah,
so,
funny. I bet you. I mean, yeah, because your clients are worldwide.
They're worldwide.
So you're 24/7.
24/7 all the time.
Are
yeah.
you still solo thing, or do you have employees? Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have a team. So I have a small team. So I
Nice.
have two other people who are my key kind of like team members. They're full time. And then I have two other people as well that do part time when they need
Nice.
them. And obviously you have the accountant, the lawyers, all those kind of things, you need them. But otherwise, yeah, so it's a lot that we do. Because my background also is being a PA. So
Okay.
some assistant. So I know how to like manage like a lot of work and project management because I'm very good at that because that's what I did for my bosses there.
Yeah.
So then I just took that into my business and had a system in place, and I learned a lot from my business coaches to help me in the early days because I wasn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And then just like grew it and grew it. So I remember when I wrote my business plan, I didn't know what a business plan was at that
Yeah,
time.
I was gonna say whenever I started this, I literally went on ChatGPT and I was
Yeah.
like, "How to business plan?"
Yeah, just like this is back before AI in this day. I remember someone gave me this like book, and I was like, oh. And
Wait,
then
I gotta read all this?
Yeah, I gotta read all that. That's what it is. But then it was a really helpful book, and it was the best book I read in the beginning.
Nice.
I remember writing the business plan, one of my goals. I remember writing vividly, and I think about this all the time. As I said, I want this service to go from being seen as a luxury service and, like it's very under the radar and, it's a luxury thing to have a festival strategist, to becoming a really in-demand and essential part of a filmmaker's distribution plan.
Oh.
And that's what it is now. So I was like, yes, we've got there. 10 years later, this was happening 10 years after that, it was changing.
Okay.
People started to, in the UK, would say, oh, we need a festival doctor. I'd be like, yes, that's me.
That's hilarious. Yeah, so like
it was becoming like, actually, this is important because more festivals started getting set up around that time. There's now like, there used to be when I first started doing this in 2010, like knowing them, figuring out how it all works and all this system in festivals, there was like 500. Now there's like 8,000.
Wow.
There's a lot. And some of those, like are not good. Some of them are really good. Some of them are very important. They all vary. So it's just knowing the market. But it is overwhelming if you don't know how it works. But it is a full-time job for me and my team. We don't do anything else besides this because it is very.
You got 8,000 festivals to weed through, and then present them to your client, and then do the booking, and then do the all. Because I mean, you handle their things from whenever they land to whenever they leave for the festivals, right?
Yeah.
Like their whole days, basically.
So we have packages where we give them the strategy and they do it themselves, and we have a package where we do it for them. So so some filmmakers work with it's very hands-on, very intense. Some they do it themselves, so it's a different kind of setup because we're consulting and not managing. So they vary. The most time-consuming part, actually, is organizing the festival screening materials. That takes a long time.
Ooh, okay.
Because it's all technical stuff. And luckily, Darren in my team loves it, thank God, because, I mean, I just...
You'd be like, that's why you hire it, or you get the people
it's
that
like
are good at the things you're bad at.
I mean, I'm great at specific things. Like festivals actually is very specific, so is the Oscars and the submission process. And that too is specific, but it's just like codex and this, that, and the other. I'm like... This is a whole new
I'm not trying to learn this much.
I don't want to learn it. Yeah, this is but he knows it because he does it for a living. Yeah. So, but it's really precise.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Wow, where can people follow you on social media and stuff?
So the best place would be Instagram, and my Instagram handle is @RebekahFilmDoctor. So that's RebekahFilmDr.
There you go.
There we go.
Rebekah Film Doctor. That is with the KK, right? Yeah. It's not like your normal Rebekah. That's why you'll notice that it is her.
Yeah.
Okay. Whenever you type it in. That's awesome. So what do you have planned for the end of the year? You got anything like coming up like that's really huge? What let me know.
Yeah. So even now, like it's really busy with festivals during this time of year because it's award season. So a lot of festivals happen all at once. September, October, November is busy. December, there's still stuff in December as well, up until the shortlists are announced at the Oscars. So we're doing a lot of screenings, which are called FYC screenings, for consideration screenings for the Oscars.
Yeah.
So we've got those to do, one of those to do in LA. And then I've got festivals right up until, just a week before Christmas. I mean, festivals still happen over Thanksgiving because in the UK you don't celebrate it in other parts of the world. Just here it's like on a go slow. But it's still got lots to plan, still got lots to do. Promotion, it's crazy. So it's just building up now to that. And hopefully I'll be able to do just confirming my next workshop at Texas Theater.
Yes, she does workshops here in Dallas. On Instagram, you'll see them. You should definitely go to them if you're a actor to filmmaker. Y'all need to go to these workshops because she's giving y'all great information.
That's true.
And watch her podcast or any podcast that she's on.
Yeah.
It's always good content.
If you want to get your film into festivals, then you just speak to me.
Yeah, basically. So what I was going to ask is, have other people followed your business model and have basically made like their own film doctor business? You said that there wasn't many people doing it. That person is now no longer in service whenever you jumped in. So like, tell me, you basically like started a whole like industry kind of, you think, huh?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, there were people definitely doing it before me, but it was very under the radar. Right. It wasn't like a fully fledged like festival strategist service. It was more like people would do it on the side or, just helping people out here and there and that kind of thing. A lot of people who were programmers at festivals would do it, and guidance. There is other companies, but not many of us still. It's not like we're really well known what we do. People know what we do, but it's not many of us that do it as a full-time agency.
Right.
There's a couple in the US, one in the UK, one in France. There's some very Pacific. There used to be a company that represented films just by Russian filmmakers. But that might be different now because of the wars. So it was, they do quite niche. Some just do shorts. I do shorts and features and everything else. So I work with all kinds of products. I do and produce screenplays, podcasts, music videos, episodics, web series.
Full in-house. It's all in-house.
VR.
You want it done.
We do it all.
The film doctor got you.
It's a one-stop shop.
Most doctors only specialize in a certain kind of surgery.
Yeah.
She specializes in all of them and excels in them as well, you know?
So one of my features actually has got nominated for a BIFA award. So the BIFAs is the British Independent Film Awards.
Wow.
And the equivalent to that in the US would be the Film Independence, what's it called? The Film Independent Spirit Awards. That's what they would be equivalent to. So that's exciting. And I'm also excited that the film that's got nominated for the BIFA is for the Breakthrough Producer Award. And that is pretty much a new producer. And it's his first feature, which is super exciting because he put a lot of work into it, raised the funds, and it's a really strong piece of work. And it's screened at London Film Festival, which is also wonderful.
Raise the funds and everything
Yeah.
himself. Like, I would bet on a dedicated individual like that too.
Exactly.
For sure. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
Man, okay, so BIFA. That's a cool acronym.
BIFA.
BIFA.
British
Yeah,
Independent Film Awards. Yeah, BIFA.
That's fun to say. All right, well, so you think how many countries have you been in to do festivals?
So I've attended quite a lot around the world, a lot in Europe, because obviously being in the UK when I lived there up until I moved, you could get easily to like Spain, France, Portugal.
Right, all
Poland.
around there, yeah.
So I've been to Krakow Film Festival in Poland. It's a wonderful festival. Camera Image in Poland is also wonderful. Obviously, the Cannes Film Festival in France, is great. Great networking for business. Berlinale in Berlin is one of my favorites. It's always cold it's always so cold. Oh my God, it's in February and it's like -10.
Oh, no.
I mean, it's cold. So you have to really, it's like to be in the Sundance, and Sundance. So
in the
I've been to a
middle
lot
of the
around there.
mountains.
Yeah. And there's some really good festivals that are in Spain and Ireland. Obviously, Ireland's got Cork Film Festival and the Dublin Film Festival. So there's plenty of great festivals around Europe and abroad. I've not gone as far yet as Australia. That's quite far. I mean,
Australia's just out there in the middle of nowhere.
Like Fiji and
you
Hawaii.
get there's literally like 3 cities.
Yeah.
It's like, how y'all got all this land and...
Yeah, and then I've been as well to South Africa.
Okay.
That's far from the UK. It's 10 hours because it's just so big. Like South Africa
It's
is
a 10-hour flight from the UK?
So, yeah, it's a flight to, say, Marrakesh, which is, say, North Africa.
That's far.
That's like 4 hours. But then to get to South Africa, obviously at the bottom, it's 10.
That's crazy.
It's huge. Like, you wouldn't have believed
Africa's
how big
huge.
It's huge. And it was like 10 hours to, like, South Africa. So it's a long haul flight. But they have a really good festival there called the Durban Film Festival.
Okay.
So I was there, and one of my films, that Kalushi film, actually won awards there, and so that was great. So it was a fun time. Just really like a long journey, and I had bronchitis the first time I went there.
Oh my!
And I was recovering from it, and it was a nasty bronchitis I had.
It was a hard cough.
It was 3 months it lasted. Yeah, it was a lot. It was
that thing lingers around. That sickness.
It was horrific.
It's a linger.
And I was just like, trying to on the plane. I was like coughing still, and I was just trying to hide it.
Yeah,
because it wasn't like the infection had gone. I was just coughing. But
like
I
that itchy throat all the time.
Somehow I got it, and I got there, but it was like ooh. And on the way back, it started to go a little bit. I remember I took some homeopathy. The woman said, "Oh, try this," and had to drink this stuff like twice a day. And actually, it did kind of help.
It was like a medicine they used down there.
Yeah, and I was like, oh,
cool.
so it's gonna got me back because I was desperate. I'd tell you anything.
Anything.
I was desperate at that
right.
point.
3 months? I'm going crazy.
I was like, I need to get to South Africa for this festival. So I got there and it all worked out okay. I was just coughing a lot, and I had my hair in braids because it was like just so intense, and the heat it was quite hot there.
You had your hair in braids?
I had braids. Yeah.
Nice.
Stay in the South African vibe. But yeah, it was a great festival, really great experience, great for the films. It was just coughing a lot. Coughing is nasty with bronchitis.
Yeah. People were like...
Yeah, like, is she okay? On the plane, it's bad because everyone thinks she's sick on the plane. It's like,
and they're like, I cannot believe she got on here.
I'm just sounds bad at the minute. I'm just recovering.
I need some hot tea or something, please.
And it was overnight, and it was a delayed flight by like 6 hours. So
this was a nightmare.
I was just there like, I need to get on the plane now. Let's just get there.
Yeah.
It was.
That's
long.
a nightmare. 6-hour delay? Yeah, no, I'm out.
6 hours delay. Yeah, to clean the plane when we got it, and then it was a nightmare.
That's a nightmare. Well, okay, so for people that have a good idea like you did, find their niche in the market, what do you suggest they do to execute on those passions and really like dive in and conquer their dreams like you have?
So my advice would be is to first of all pick obviously your niche or your niche, as you say over here, and then figure out.
Wait, who says niche?
isn't that American, like niche? We would
Those
say
people need to
niche.
stop. It's niche. It's your niche.
It's niche.
It's like quiche. It's very simple.
So once you've found your niche, is then figure out, okay, is there a market for this to make money? If there is, then really focus on it. And I always said to people who want to get into, say, for example, like social media as a good example, I say, well, okay, so you're good at social media, but what aspect? Because there's so many angles of social media that you could do.
Yep.
So, if you're going to think you're going to do like, all the platforms, maybe just focus on one that you do the best, and then figure
Grow
out
that.
and grow that. So what's the micro niche? So say you're the best at Pinterest for businesses and it's filming content and like creating a page, then that's what you got to home in on. Or are you better on LinkedIn doing like corporate videos that will help sell a particular brand?
Yep.
That's where you got to figure out where your niche is. If it's Instagram, then is it doing reels to build a business or a personal brand? So like be really clear, because I figured that out all in hindsight when I was doing this, but it's like really stressful with the business when I first started it up, because it was I didn't know what I was doing. I was learning on the job.
Right.
But also just knowing like in hindsight how to work it. So I always advise people, come early, and then hindsight's a wonderful thing. But that's what I would suggest, is to just home in, laser focus on it. And with this, my business coach told me this, Ed J.C. Smith, home in on it, really figure out what you're good at and be really specific, and then grow it and figure out if there's a market first. I mean, if there's nobody who's going to pay for this, there's no business.
Yeah, then
If
there's
people need this, like it's in demand, like I was figuring out with my research at the festival, everyone was like, well, we need help getting into festivals. No idea what we're doing.
Right.
There's a market
We're
for
good
it.
at making films.
Yes.
Nothing
Yes.
else.
Exactly.
Help me.
Exactly. So, you need that strategic vision. You need to have a consultant. The same like with social media, there's a big market for it. You have to break it down.
Yep.
The same like we say you're good at marketing, or what aspect that no one really does that everyone needs. Same with PR. Is it like good at doing social media PR? Is it PR that's in the trades, or is it podcast? There's many
Is it getting
things.
yeah.
You really got to home in on it. So like with mine, is very specific, very very niche.
Okay.
If you find people that say they do everything, we do all social media stuff, they're not going to do it the way you want, because they're not going to be specific enough.
Yeah.
So it's every platform's different as well. So, so it's including a lot of research is a key thing.
Yeah.
Knowing who the market is, what you're good at, and knowing how to make money.
Yep. I got good at Twitter, and then I went on to LinkedIn because I wanted to grow my business page on LinkedIn. But then after like a couple of months, I'm like, I'm not getting any traction. This doesn't make sense. So I looked into LinkedIn more. You actually want to grow your personal account more. People will like you as a founder and then go follow your business.
Exactly.
So it's like totally opposite on Twitter. Twitter, people want to follow the business account. They don't care. I mean, they care what like the founder of the company is saying, but like they want to see the announcements coming from the business actual page. So it's just like a little getting used to kind of thing.
Exactly. So yeah, no, completely. I totally agree. It's a very precise thing.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a learning experience. I'm having a good time.
Yeah, it's a learning curve.
Yeah, it's a learning curve for sure.
I mean, it's like learning on the job is the best, because literally nobody knew what I do back in that time. It was, it was very few and far between. The Film Festival Secrets book I brought when I found that other company that did it at the time was so good. And I was like, oh, I know how to work on this now, and how it changes and develops over time. So learning on the job is the best way. It's stressful, because I was like, Emma did an interview with somebody, and then he said, oh, so you're an entrepreneur now, but you weren't at the time, because when entrepreneurs, they like had the business skills, set up a business, you were having to find that. I was like, yeah. So it was very much like that.
Right.
So I found it in that process. It was a weird journey. But my parents were like, well, you seem like it's what you need to do, is this festival doctor business, not academia.
Right.
So my heart wasn't in academia to do it as a career. I'm very proud of the work I did in academia, and it's valuable, but it's just my soul is film festival strategy. This is what I was born to do, and my gift. So that's what it is.
I agree, because you kill it.
Yeah. The best part of my job, the fun part, is putting the creative hat on and doing the submissions and doing the strategy. Like I have these things, I wake up at like 3 a.m. I'm like, oh, that festival will be really good for that film. I've got to make a note. Every time that happens, it gets in.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. You have like a dream or something?
And I'm just like, oh, I wake up and like, I have a notepad beside the bed, and then I have to write down like the festival name and the film.
Love it.
And then I remember it happened once, and I was like, oh, the Michaud Film Festival for Ray of Hope. And I wrote it down. I said, we must submit. I think we have to submit. And they were like, okay. And then we got it. So normally it's just like, oh, yes, and I have it. Sometimes it just happens out the blue. Like this festival comes in my head. I'm like, oh, I must put that down. Because there's something that's like, yes, I must put it down. And just certain things I'm like, this would be really good here and really good there. And, most of the time it'll work. But it's just, really knowing the film inside out and really, really precise is a really exciting kind of thing.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. And I feel like you have like made like such a cool skill trait.
Yes.
That's like so niche.
Yeah.
That
it is very niche. At first, people were like, we have to prove this works, and you might have to work for free in the beginning, which I did.
You always have to work for free.
Which
people
I
don't
did,
understand.
yeah. Because people were like, everyone knows what a sales agent does in the film industry. Everyone knows what a producer does. This is something brand new that people don't know how to trust you if it works. You got to prove it.
You got to prove it. You got to build a concept.
Yeah.
Proof of concept, which is okay because you knew I got all these film producers talking about how they need help.
Yeah.
So they're going to want it to at least let me try.
Yeah, exactly. So it was very like, okay, this is really important. But it was just having to, when I got knocked down, I think, oh, right, I'm going to learn from this. There's something here telling me something. Or like something didn't work. It's like, okay, it didn't work. So I remember what I did at one point is all my clients at the time, and it still happens now, but the clients were saying how the patterns were coming out. What I noticed is that they said, oh, we love festivals. It's great to get in. We have issues getting our films sold, getting it sold to a distribution company like Netflix or something, or Apple. Netflix wasn't there at the time. This wasn't happening there. It was different.
This is Blockbuster.
It was Blockbuster, yeah.
Shout out Blockbuster.
Shout out
Great
Blockbuster.
part of my childhood going to Blockbuster.
It was definitely no Netflix at that time.
No.
But it was, they wanted distribution. So I thought, I'm gonna find them a distribution, get a sales agent. But I was like, halfway through, I tried doing it. It's like, this is not working. And then a friend of mine, who I'm good friends with now, he said, oh, I help people find the right sales agent for their film. And I was like, oh. And he said, yeah, people come to me and they want to get a sales agent. People come to you to get a film festival strategy and get festival screenings. They want a sales agent. And I was like, I know what I can do. I'm going to refer my clients to you because this is your area of expertise and your niche.
Boom. And then
I don't have sales contacts. Like,
Yeah.
I know some people. I haven't got like a whole black book of them. Like I have festival programmer contacts. So I was like, this needs to be with this person. It's much better. So, yeah.
And now y'all just probably send each other clients all the time.
All the time.
Right.
All the time, yeah.
That's the most valuable relationships.
Yeah. So now I love what I do, and I'm going to be like Madonna and just keep doing it until,
You drop.
Yeah.
Because she's still doing it, and she hasn't dropped yet.
Nope.
Wasn't she like in the Super Bowl like last year or 2 years ago?
Yeah. I mean, like, she's always finding ways to reinvent herself and
Yeah.
be something different, And even
Madonna's iconic.
yeah. People think with festival strategy there's only so much you can do. Not really. It depends upon the product and the project you're working on and how to like think outside the box, is also really important.
Okay. That makes sense. Thinking out. Yeah. Because if you can think outside the box, you can bend around the other people that are doing it the long way, usually, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
And I also believe that AI cannot replace me.
Oh, no way. No way.
I don't see that being possible. It's so
AI
precise.
will only help you.
Yeah.
But it will never replace you.
Exactly.
It can only be used as a tool for you. There's no replacing your niche.
I remember it did help me because I said, I want to double check something. I was on Google. I said, do the Bolton Film Festival screen experimental films? It's just a question popped up in my head. So I could have gone on their website. I just had Google in front of me, so I just asked. And then AI said, yes, it does. And I was like, oh, yes, that's great. So that's helpful, just to confirm something.
That's it.
But like, if you ask her, like, what festivals could I submit my horror film to? It'll come up with a list of names. Will it be good for the film? They can't tell you that.
No, but they give you the name.
Give you
you
the
can
name.
narrow it down.
Yeah.
And now you can go dig in and use your brain.
Exactly. So I just don't think it can. Like, obviously people like, writers and stuff, it was worrying. But luckily now it's
They
a
don't
place
have the
where
emotion, though.
No.
Writers are
Yeah.
emotional beings, and
Yeah.
that's why they write and do good things.
Well, exactly. It's like human beings, not robots. But like, glad that we had the strike in a way to help revert that and to keep protection in place was actually worthwhile, even though it was a long time that people weren't working. In hindsight, it is important. The same with acting.
Short-term loss equals a long-term gain.
Exactly. That's what I think it is. Yeah. So
always. Well, Rebekah, plug your social one more time.
Instagram is at Rebekah Film Doctor, and my website is thefilmfestivaldoctor.com.
Yes. All producers, writers, anybody, if you're associated with the film, reach out. We'll see y'all at DIFF, hopefully. Submit to DIFF. I have a podcast with James and Amber. It's the first one I did, so check that one out. They'll tell you how to submit to DIFF and how to basically, give you a little, plan of how to get in.
Oh, yeah. Well, DIFF look for quality content, so all films that are good submit to DIFF.
Yeah. For real. Yeah, because they get a lot of submits. Yeah. And they do not choose, I don't even think, a third of them.
Yeah.
So
it's tough. Yeah.
It's tough out there. So keep producing the good films for us because we love them.
Yeah, we do. So please submit.
Please submit. Well, this was brought to you again, as always, by DirecTV. Hit up ELE's social marketing for all your internet and TV solutions. Oh, I'm messing this up right now. All your TV and internet solutions, and we would love to help you out. This is house, business, camp, wherever it is, we can give you the right price and the right product. So we'll see y'all next week or the week after that. I got the comedy podcast coming out. We're shooting another fitness podcast episode. That'll be coming out. We're going to have Get Started with Verdi in the Park January 12th. That's at the Hardwood Park here in Dallas. So pay attention to our Instagram for that. We'll be promoting it. It'll be like a little fitness kind of mingle session. We're kind of playing off of the run club here in, like the running clubs here in Dallas are more like date clubs now. So we're kind of playing off of that where we want people to like be healthy, but also be able to come and network. We'll have like some vendors come out. It'll be a great time. So just pay attention to ELE Studios Instagram for that. And that's pretty much it, people. Thank y'all for listening. The Film Doctor. Thank you, Rebekah. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
It's been a great time. Bye, everybody.
Bye. That's fun. Thank you. Really appreciate that. Very nice microphone.